When I was 3 years old, my grandparents had a piano. I was at their house. Someone comes over, rings the doorbell. I walk over to the piano. They're like, okay, that's not normal. Then one day, my mom's vacuuming, the vacuum just, I walk over to the piano. Okay. That's how they discovered that I have perfect pitch. When I'm in a choir that goes flat, or I hear a concert and the choir's going flat, I wish I could turn it off. But most of the time, I find it very helpful, especially when I'm trying to learn music. I remember listening to music in the spoken word and just thinking, that's an awesome choir. I'd love to know how all of that works. I was in choir all through junior high, high school, college. I'd love to audition and go through that process. Probably to the annoyance of some of my friends, but I've been a teacher most of my life. At one point, I was thinking career instrumentalist, career pianist. Lane Chaney, who I talked to, he was an incredible pianist. And I asked him one day, why, if you play the piano so well, are you a choir teacher? And he said to me, I realized as a solo pianist, you're only going to go so far. That's when I really started to think, okay, that's where I want to go. And so I started thinking, well, piano performance is out. What about music teaching?
Two strikes in a row.
I thought it was 3.
No, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, turkey is 3 strikes. Turkey is 3 strikes.
Every person who is blind is different. I was born at 29 weeks, so I was very early. I was placed on a concentrated supply of oxygen, and it came and completely detached my optic nerve and retina. So what I perceive may not be what the next person that you happen to meet who is blind may see or perceive.
What's your favorite thing about your dad?
His jokes. He makes a lot of jokes. Over the speaker, they'll go, whoever has this car, can you please move it? And he'll go, that's mine.
Basically, if he hears something, he instantly knows how to play it. Listening to my music, playing games, and Dad will play the music alongside it. Sometimes I don't even realize that he's the one who's playing the background music.
We didn't think we were going to be able to have babies. With With my health issues, I was told I could never get pregnant. Both times they were pure miracles that I survived and that they survived. I was the only one of my siblings with really severe health problems. So my parents just didn't put anything on me. My emotional response to that was to be a perfectionist. I would reject help from anybody for anything. I felt stressed all the time. I felt really overwhelmed. I was robbing myself of feeling supported. And that was what was hurting our relationship there, was because he couldn't support me. I didn't allow him to. I would say at some point he gave up on trying.
In 2006, I graduated with my Bachelor of Music Education from the University of Utah and started applying for teaching jobs. A lot of the interviews would be over before they ever started. They wouldn't even interview me, or they would ask me all sorts of questions that you would never ask any other quote-unquote normal person. For example, how are you going to keep the two students in the back from making out? How are you going to occupy their attention and make sure that they are seated in their seats the whole time? They didn't believe that a blind person, me, could do the job. Silence is often more telling than noise. Just the other day, I had 3 people that were playing rock, paper, scissors, and they were doing it this way so that they were making absolutely no noise. We were singing a song, people kept forgetting the words a lot. And I was like, okay, guys, we're not concentrating. We're not focused. What's going on? And they're like, well, these 3 students are being disruptive and they're playing rock, paper, scissors. And I went, okay, guys, look, since you're doing it intentionally, knowing I'm blind, you're not making a noise, so you think you're not going to get caught. Guess what? You just got caught. So that pretty much is like a slap in my face, because you are trying to get away with stuff that I can't see. So let's get back on the normal path and let's have better choices. If they didn't retain the musical knowledge that I'm talking about, the most important thing for them to understand is the fact that I am a person just like they are a person. I deserve the same respect as they do. For 6 to 8 years, I had interview after interview after interview where no one would hire a blind guy. At the time, I didn't think a lot of discrimination. All I knew is I wasn't getting hired, and I wasn't getting hired, and I wasn't getting hired, and I couldn't prove a dang thing. And then I found out about the license. One of the professors at the university who had direct access to my paperwork and worked directly with me had not turned in my license to the state. And as a matter of fact, while I was in college, to my face, he told me that a blind person had no business teaching. So we made some phone calls, eventually got my paperwork turned in. So now I am a licensed teacher. The first time I was hired, it was an elementary school in Arizona. They also hired an assistant, but really she was the school's assistant. Their main job was to babysit, essentially, the students. So they still didn't trust me. Even though I have been teaching now for almost 9 full years, I will constantly be wondering if people are judging me based on blindness, especially their perception of what I can and cannot do without even asking. The biggest problem people with disabilities face is ignorance and prejudice. If you have an open mind, we can show you there might be other ways to do things, like my staff on the board or my cutout notes. I can teach print music just as well as the next person. This is my tablet. It's called an Apex. There is Braille music. This is how I read music in addition to words. Braille comes up on this spot here, and it changes when I push these buttons. A lot of people pretty much say you can't do this instead of how can we change it so you can?
All right, now that we've done roll call, we are going to start out. What do we call this?
The staff.
Okay, good. How many fingers am I holding up?
5.
5. So it's kind of cool because it looks kind of like a staff. Now we're gonna name these lines with letters. Repeat after me, please.
Repeat after me, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Elephants
Elephants.
got
Got.
big,
Big.
dirty.
Dirty.
Now do them both together. Feet. Very good. Now I'm going to point to these lines and we're going to do that together. Elephants got big, dirty feet. Very good. Now I'm going to do it the wrong way. I remember both rejections very well. I tried out, and the first 2 times I didn't make it. I had been voice training. I had given it a lot of work and time and effort. I was in school, and I got the email during the day when I had a break between classes, and then my class came in, and I had to pretend like nothing happened. That was hard.
He was at work teaching school. The kids were at school. I was on my way to an appointment. The guy called me and he was going to be late. So I went to go home and the house was on fire. I called the fire department. I called 911. And then as soon as they were on their way, I called him. I just had an emotional meltdown. That was everything. We lost everything. Where are we gonna sleep tonight? What are we gonna eat? What the crap are we gonna do now? He got a ride from his aide from work, and he managed all of the people coming in and helping me get through all the questions, because emotionally, I was just in shock.
What did you want to say, Grant?
The fire wasn't the only disaster. There was 3 disasters within 1 week.
Not a week.
Not
It
a
was
week.
within a 4-month time span.
But the first disaster was the fire. But after that, everything in our garage got robbed. Then our house flooded. Fire then flood.
Fire, we have theft, we have flood. Sounds like a James Taylor song. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Sorry.
So much more good came than bad. The fire happened right next to the laundry room. All of our clothes that weren't on our backs were completely destroyed. Within 2-3 days, we had almost double what we had before from donations that we got from other people.
It actually turned into a huge blessing. Because of how our dynamic changed, he picked it up a lot. I learned to let go of a lot. I used to only count on myself. When I have a really bad day, he helps me more, and I know that things are still gonna get done.
Well, without the fire, we probably wouldn't have made the decision to move to Utah, and we have lots and lots and lots of new interactions with our family that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
We are a really close family. Hand snuggles. This is something we always do. Hand snuggles.
When I was getting ready to move back to Utah, I got a phone call. All I heard was blah, 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 principal. And I said, hi. She says, I know you're coming to Utah. Would you like to have an in-person interview or an over-the-phone interview? The minute people see me, the interview's over. But if she doesn't see me, she doesn't think about the blindness. So I said I'd love to have an interview over the phone. We talked for an hour about philosophy, about teaching. A lot of the discipline issues didn't even come up. And she hired me right there, over the phone. We came to Utah, then we met, and she comes in the room and she says, oh, you're blind. Not, oh, you're blind. Note the difference. And I said, yeah, and you're not running away screaming? And she says, no, I believe that you're quite capable, which I about fainted from.
Welcome to Kyle's new classroom at Ascent Academy in Lehigh.
I do not have an assistant at this job. I haven't needed one, and I've been at this job for almost 4 full years.
Smile.
That is the difference in the interview and the hiring process and the practices. I know that my principal's open-mindedness had a lot to do with hiring me.
What's our ETA, Chel?
10 to 15 minutes.
Then I'll be cutting close. Okay. And so I got this email that said, based on our former email that we sent to you, and I went, what former email? So I read it and it said, this is an experiment for us and you. It told me that the choir is open to having me, and yet they have questions and so do I. I mean, right now I'm not nervous at all. Hey!
Nice to meet you too. Hi. Oh, hi.
What's your name?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. I'm Clarissa.
Nice to meet you.
We love Kyle.
Now I don't need the email. Thank you.
This is where we go down the stairs.
Right here. Oh, yep. They put your braille sticker there.
Nice.
That. I like that.
This is the corner where we turn.
Okay, so
Right
1,
here.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my folder and I'm going to put my music in my folder. Hey, they even left me my pencil. I can mark my music now. Shall in love and beauty dwell, and with joy each heart will swell. It's been incredible. Thank you.
You going upstairs here? And you're the aisle seat. This is where you'll be every week. Okay?
Thank you.
So every Thursday, every Sunday, this is your seat. If you're not going to be here, then obviously we would fill it. But this is your seat for while
Thank
we're here in the
you.
Tabernacle. Okay?
Have a seat. You know, I always wondered, the standing ovation I thought was invented because people wanted to get up and leave sooner. I don't know. I created a music box a couple of years ago and gave it to Chelsea for our anniversary. It was destroyed in our fire. But luckily, I was able to still have the words. I love you for all the little things you do. You know that my love for you is deep and true. I love you for all the things you say and are. You're my everything and my guiding star. And I'll go anywhere with you, just as long as I'm with you. To the end of the moon, to eternity and beyond.